Welcome and good afternoon. This is Commish Orr, and today I thought I would do two things. One, give a little update on the website that you can track all of the action for the Triple-Elimination tournament, currently using History Maker Baseball, and their all-time franchise great sets. Thought I'd give a little overview of what the new website looks like, or the new way it's laid out. For those of you who may have seen the website when I was doing the Payoff Pitch League, so that you can kind of see the differences there, or for those of you who are new, just so you could see the website maybe for the first time. Secondly, I've played 4 games now, and so I thought I'd just give an update on where things stand after 4 games in the tournament. Give a little brief recap on those other 3 games. I already gave a recap on game 1, where the Mariners defeated the Yankees in my first ever History Maker Baseball game that I played. So let's take a look at the website and what you can expect. If you go ahead over to baseballmaelstrom.com, you will come to this front page here. And what you'll see is after every game that I play, I do a little 1-paragraph write-up on the game that you'll see here. You can see past games over here. And if you really want to delve back, you can see all the write-ups I did on the Payoff Pitch League games in prior months. So you'll see the little write-up here. You'll see a link that you can click to go to the game itself. So, for example, if we click this, then we get the game page, if you will. It shows you kind of the line score, obviously the score, the line score, the venue, the WordPress that I'm using here for whatever reason doesn't pull in the Google map, but if you click on this, it will take you to the map of the venue that they're playing at, which is Comerica Park here. Then down below, you'll get the recap that you saw on the front page, and a little link to click for the box score and score sheet. So that's what you'll see there. Immediately below, so this displays one story at a time, with the past ones being over here. You have a link to view the full tournament bracket. It links to a PDF, so depending on your browser situation, it may pull up in the browser, or it may, I don't know what it'll do in some cases, maybe download it, I'm not sure. But here's where you can get the full bracket. Remember, triple elimination, so you have a winner's bracket, you have a loser's bracket for teams that have lost 1 game, and then you have an elimination bracket for teams that have lost 2 games. And those teams that lose in the elimination bracket are out of the tournament. And you have that for the American and National League, as you can kind of see there. And then down below that, you have what says today's schedule. It's actually 8 games of the 16 games that are being played today, because there's 32 teams. So you'll see kind of this, you can click on scores if they've already played, or if they have not played yet, it'll list the time that the game is being played, the fictional time, obviously. So these 4 games are taking place on October 1st at 3 p.m. National League. And then if you click View All Events, that'll take you to the schedule, the full schedule. And then down below that, down here, are the records. So you can see team records. Standings isn't really relevant because teams aren't advancing based on the standings. They're advancing based on whether they've lost or not in the bracket. But I still thought it'd be interesting for people who are curious to see what the standings look like. And then on the right-hand side, which I've kind of explained some of this already, but down below that you get scores. So again, this will take you to the schedule and the most recent scores. Well, the prior day's scores is what it's really supposed to show, but there are too many games for it to display all on one screen, so it doesn't quite work out that way. And then I did a little trailer for my Payoff Pitch League, so you can view that trailer if you're curious about that. Up top, you have the home page, which is what we're on. you can click on stats and see, I'll blow this up a little bit, the ball score, ball stat web pages that have been generated so that you can view all of the stats. Here's standings page, but if you go to, you can go to leaders to view the leaderboards, like batting leaders, for example, and see the leaders throughout the league. Other than that, you can see team batting, team pitching, team fielding, and if you click on a team, you get to that team's roster, basically, so you can see all of the batting, pitching, and fielding totals for that particular team. And then there's a whole lot more. There's like team highs and lows, player highs, game recaps, a breakdown versus each opponent, and that kind of thing. So there's quite a bit there in terms of stats. And then the schedule will give you the same thing that you could have gotten if you clicked on clicked here in the front page. If you click on view all events here or here, gets you to the same thing. But this is like the schedule, the complete schedule, all on one page. So only the first day's games are listed here. The others have yet to be played or yet to be scheduled, but I'll schedule those once this day is done. And then you can always get back to the Payoff Pitch League that I did. So if you're curious to see, even though that league is wrapped up, you can click on this link and it will take you to the Payoff Pitch League. Here are the final standings for those 8 teams. And then across the top here, you can get the full schedule, the season stats, the World Series stats, the All-Star game, team pages, player list. It's pretty in-depth. Here you can click on, for example, if you click on one of the teams here, Boston, it'll take you to that team's page, and then you see the roster, their schedule, their particular stats, and all of that fun stuff from there too. I don't have team pages like that set up for the tournament yet, but that may be coming. I'm going to continue to work on this to get it updated. As I have time, I'll continue to update some of this stuff. So right now, if you try to click on a team, let's say Seattle, there's no team page set up yet. But it's something that I plan on doing as I have time. So that's a little rundown of the of what you see on the page. There is a contact us if you want to email me or go to my YouTube page. From here, you can do that. But that just kind of gives you a breakdown of the website. Now I wanted to give a little quick recap of the other games that took place. I already again went over the Seattle and New York game. But let's take a look at some of the other games that took place. So the Yomiuri Giants, which is a Japanese league team, took on the Toronto Blue Jays here in the second game that I played. And as you can see here, Roger Clemens actually kind of led the Blue Jays over the Giants here. Here's the box score. Clemens, 8 innings pitched, only allowed 4 hits. He did walk 5, but he struck out 9 and allowed 2 earned runs. But Toronto pretty much had the game in hand, especially in the 6th inning. They had a 2-1 lead after the 3rd inning. Both of those runs scored by John Olerud, who had a home run in the 1st. But then they really broke out in the 6th inning against Fujimoto, the starter for Yomiuri Giants. As you can see here, after Josh Donaldson flew out, then they had 4 or 5 straight hits, including back-to-back homers by Tony Fernandez and Roberto Alomar there to kind of chase him in the 6th inning. And that's pretty much all they would need. As I said, Clemens allowed just 4 hits. So Toronto advanced after this one. And the next game was the White Sox against the Twins. And the White Sox held off the Twins in this one. If we head over to the box score, we can see that Minnesota actually jumped out in front on an RBI from Harmon Killebrew. But Chicago got right back into it in the third with an RBI from Carlton Fisk. They scored 2 more in the fourth thanks to a 2-run shot by Minnie Minoso. Minnesota did come back and tie it up in the sixth. This is all against Ed Walsh while Walter Johnson was pitching for the Twins. But Chicago came right back and scored 2 more runs in the bottom of the sixth, thanks to a 2-run homer by Carl Reynolds. Then they got an insurance run in the seventh, which they would need when Luke Appling had an RBI single there in the seventh inning to put them up 6-4 at that point, or 6-3 at that point. But Minnesota wouldn't go quietly, as they let off the eighth with a Goose Goslin home run. And then in the ninth, Mickey Vernon led off with a triple and scored on a sac fly, but to get them to within a run, but that was all they would get, as Bobby Thigpen held them scoreless after that initial sac fly to pick up the save. So Chicago takes this one, just edging Minnesota 6-5. Chicago themselves only had 6 hits overall, but a couple of those were home runs, and so that kind of made the difference there. Finally, we had a big pitchers duel between Kansas City Royals and Detroit Tigers. Denny McLain faced off against Brett Saberhagen. And as you can see here, we had Saberhagen allowed a couple of runs in the third. He had a bad third inning here where he allowed 3 straight singles. There was an error by Danny Tartable there in the third, which extended the inning. Then Norm Cash actually walked to walk in a run there for their second run. So that gave Detroit 2 runs. Kansas City did score a run in the fourth when Offerman and Darrell Porter had back-to-back singles. Those were the only 2 hits McLain would allow, though. As you can see, he was, he retired the first 9 batters he faced, allowed those 2 singles, then retired the next 12 batters before walking Mike Sweeney, and then retired the next 3 straight. So McLain allowed 2 hits and a walk, struck out 7. Again, Saberhagen, though, other than that one inning here, the third inning, allowed just 4 hits overall. 3 of those came in this third inning. But he was pitched pretty well the rest of the way. Just not well enough when he faced off against McLain here. So Detroit takes this one 2-1. And if we come to the bracket, we can see Seattle advanced, Toronto advanced, Chicago advanced, and Detroit advanced so far in the American League. And the way this is set up is these 8 teams are kind of part of a pod, if you will, kind of similar to the College World Series, where you have College World Series, I believe, has 4 team pods, and those 4 teams play a double elimination and then advance based on that. Well, the way I have the bracket set up is you have pods of 8. So these 8 teams here will be in the same pod, meaning the winners advance, but the losers are also playing each other. So here are the 4 losers from above. And then 9 and 10 are also from that same pod, as is 17. So you have two pods of 8 teams in the American League and 2 pods of 8 teams in the National League. And then the eventual winners of those pods face off against each other to determine the American and National League winner. And then the American League champion will play the National League champion to determine the winner of the overall tournament. So here's the National League, which I haven't started those games yet, but the next 4 games will be these 4 that are part of this pod here. You have San Francisco facing Miami, Washington against Homestead, Cincinnati at the New York Mets, and the Chicago Cubs and the Philadelphia Phillies will fight for the next 4 games. Then I'll have the 4 remaining games in the American League and the 4 remaining games in the National League to kind of wrap up the day. So I just kind of my schedule is I play about 4 games a week roughly. And so I plan on releasing a video recap of those 4 games as I make it through, kind of just update you on where we're at with the bracket. That seemed to work well with the Payoff Pitch League. Is I play roughly 4 games a week, give or take, and then do an update video after each 4 game. Each of those after the 4 games were played. And that seemed to work well, and I'm planning on kind of doing that with the bracket as well. So that gives you an update on where we're at. Gives you an update on the website. If there's anything that you have questions on, please leave those down in the comments, or if you just want to comment and let me know what you think, leave that in the comments as well. But that's where we will kind of wrap things up today. The next video will probably be after there's a in-person Payoff Pitch tournament in Milwaukee that's taking place this weekend. And so I'm looking forward to that. And I'll probably do a little brief video recap of the tournament, and meaning the Payoff Pitch tournament. The in-person Payoff Pitch tournament that's taking place in Milwaukee this weekend. I'll do a little recap of that before I do my next video for the History Maker Baseball League. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and until next time, have a great evening.